because I was trying to maintain this work life and also add on all this other stuff. It was impossible. So of course you're stressed, you're not your best self, you're taking it out on other people. And so it got really bad to the point where I hit rock bottom, my first of many rock bottoms. But that was the point where I was like, something needs to change. And I think everybody's story will have like a different kind of rock bottom. Hopefully it doesn't get to rock bottom and you can catch it before then.
Okay, welcome back to Hawaii Real, everybody. I'm your host, Ioke Ehu, and I want to send a shout out to Hawaiian Springs Water, our beverage host for this episode. I'll put the link to the Amazon purchasing thing in the description below, so you can go ahead and purchase it directly on Amazon and have it delivered to your door if you don't live here in Hawaii. It is sold around the country too, though. Hawaiian Springs Water, check it out. It's alkaline, 7.7. It's good stuff. And this episode is brought to you by the Native Hawaiian Chamber of Commerce. The Native Hawaiian Chamber of Commerce's mission is to malama Native Hawaiians in business and commerce through leadership, relationships, and connections to economic resources and opportunities. The Chamber's programs and events are designed to facilitate connections and promote business growth, professional and economic development, and sustainability. The Chamber's membership is open to individuals, nonprofit organizations, and businesses of all sizes. To learn more about the Chamber and how you can join, visit the website, www.nativehawaiianchamberofcommerce.org. All right, so I'm back with an awesome guest. I've been trying to get her on for a little while. She's all the way from the Big Island, Kolby Moser.
Aloha, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming out here to Honolulu and coming on the show. Like, this was the only thing you came to Honolulu for, right?
Literally, off the plane, straight here, straight back on the plane.
Not. But Kolby, you are a filmmaker, entrepreneur, business coach, and she is the founding partner and director for Aria Studios,
yes,
which is where I kind of connected with you guys because Aria Studios did my brother's wedding, or the video stuff for my brother's wedding. And I thought your team did an awesome job. And I was kind of floored at the professionalism and the end product that was produced. I was like, wow.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm producing a podcast here, and what you guys did was like, boom, blew me out of the water. I was like, oh, I got to see who's in charge of that. Because that was really cool. But you're also the founding partner and executive producer for the Alchem Group, which is the primary filmmaking team for the Four Seasons properties in the Pacific.
Yeah, we also do a lot of other commercial stuff. Pretty cool stuff.
But you said that's like your side gig. And I was like, how is that a side gig? It's like, that's insane. That's really cool. That's awesome stuff. And you also are the founding board member for Aria Children's Fund. Thank you so much for that. It's great stuff.
Yeah, 7 years running.
And I didn't know this, but you were a reporter for KGMA 9 News.
Reporter and producer. Yeah.
And producer. Wow. Hello. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
And I wanted to start off this with our lightning round of questions. Just kind of break the ice and see where you're from, who you are. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
She kind of cheated, though. She saw some of the questions.
I already forgot them.
Sure. I can tell a liar. I'm a detective. I used to be a detective. Okay, what high school you went to?
Ka'u High School.
Kahuku?
Ka'u on the Big Island.
Ka'u. Okay. It's a mini version of Kahuku. Bad joke? Terrible joke.
I love my alma mater. Yeah. Okay. 2001. Giving away my age.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. So what neighborhood are you from in the Big Island?
Ka'u.
Okay. There you go.
Well, I lived in Pahala, which is a town in Ka'u, and now I live in Waimea.
Nice. Waimea is beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. Do you have a nickname?
No. I mean,
super awesome.
Back in the day, people would call me Kolbs, and some people still do, but that's about it. Kolbs. Kolby.
Kolbs. With the L or without the L?
I would actually spell it like COBS, but then people started calling me Cobbs. And I was like, all right, we need to add the L back in there.
Yeah, that's kind of corny.
Yeah.
Number 2. Favorite day of the week?
I love Mondays.
Why?
Because that's the day where we have our team meetings. And it's kind of the fresh start to the week. And the kids are back in school.
So you love your team?
No, it's just a good, like, fresh start, I'd say. Cool. Sunday, I'm still kind of on chill mode. And Monday, it's like, let's get to work. What do we have going on this week?
Nice. So do you guys mainly work Monday through Friday, or do you guys also have weekend work?
24/7, 7 days a week.
Nice.
Yeah.
The life of the entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite local food item?
I love opihi. It's my favorite
What?
thing.
That's a first.
Like my favorite. So my favorite pastime is picking opihi with my dad. And in Ka'u, I mean, people who do fishing, and Ka'u is kind of like the place to go. There's just tons of opihi, tons of fish. And when we have a free weekend, I'll go down and pick opihi with my dad. So opihi and poi.
That is as local girl as you can get. It's my favorite food. Opihi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was loud. What does he have on here? Oh, shave ice or ice cream?
Shave ice.
Your favorite beach?
Ooh, Hapuna. Because we're there a couple of times a week. Just where I take my kids. And that's their favorite beach. So my favorite beach too.
What makes it great?
The long white sand beach. Lots of parking. That's the thing on the Big Island. It's like you can just park your truck anywhere.
And just go. It's country still.
It's pretty country.
Much.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of tourists on the Big Island too. But the moment that I realized, because I lived on Oahu for 13 years, the moment I realized I needed to move back to the Big Island was when I went to Kaimana, drove around for 30 minutes, couldn't find parking, and then went back home with all the beach stuff in the car and the girls crying. So
that's the one at the end of Waikiki.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Some days it's just horrible over there, parking.
Yeah.
You got to go like during the week in the morning or something like that.
Yeah. But Hapuna's beautiful. The sun sets on that side of the island. And so we'll eat dinner, watch the sunset, and it's just perfect. Gorgeous stuff. Okay. So if you were a superhero, what superpowers would you have? Or villain? I don't know. A villain? Ooh, now I need to change my answer.
I
think I would want to teleport.
Oh.
I love to travel, and like the actual traveling part is fine, but not when you're traveling with kids. So I would love to be able to travel and just teleport with my kids.
Oh, with your
to
kids.
Different locations. Oh, traveling without kids? Oh, it's fine.
I could teleport.
Order some wine on the plane. So relaxing. Read a book.
Well, I actually had that question written down here. If you could teleport, why would you go to Delaware?
Delaware? I wouldn't go to Delaware.
See?
Would you?
No.
What's in Delaware?
Nothing, apparently.
Nothing?
Hey,
oh, sorry, Delaware listeners. I'm sure there's something.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird for sure.
How early is early?
Like 6.
That's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Yeah, but I love it when the sun is coming up and all the colors in the sky, and it's like quiet in the house still, and you get kind of a head start on stuff.
That's the nice time.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
And it's nice and cool out still, usually. Junk food? Do you have a go-to for junk food?
Yes. Maui onion potato chips. That purple bag from Costco, the giant one.
See, I see potatoes as they grow in the ground.
Kind of a vegetable.
They're a vegetable.
Me too.
Air for
Same
French
as wine.
Fries, chips, wine.
Wine's great.
Salad.
No, sweet potato, the sweet Maui, whatever, that chip, that is my lunch. I'd say 6 days out of the week. It's really bad. That's so good.
Yeah, that's your sodium levels must be through the roof.
But it's a vegetable, so we're okay.
Yeah, we're okay. You're eating a salad. Okay. Hey, do you believe the earth is flat?
Does anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not me.
Okay, good. Does Bigfoot exist?
Maybe. I mean, probably. I would love to see Bigfoot.
Okay.
I would like to have a selfie with him. That would be really cool.
I'm sure they would let you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is Tom Brady overrated?
Oh, wow. These are really random. I didn't get down all the way to this question. Are you a Tom Brady fan?
No.
No?
Yes and no.
I think he's a great dad and a great husband.
Wow.
So,
nice.
I mean, I do follow him for like health tips and workout stuff. So I don't think he's overrated, but I'm not really a football fan. So
that is like the most diplomatic football answer I've ever heard. It could have been like, who's Tom Brady? I don't know who that is. But that's great. I didn't know he gave like health tips and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's apparently like super. I mean, you gotta look into it. He's like crazy healthy. Like he doesn't even eat sugar, like at all.
Dude. Yeah, he was just like on an interview saying that, yeah, he could probably play for another, I think, 4 or 5 years, 6 years till he's 50.
He has like, he's like the most winningest football player. How many
Yeah, he's
champion?
also like seven Super Bowl rings or something like
Super
that.
Bowls, and he's like 50.
Yeah, on 2 different teams too.
Yeah,
and he's in his mid 40s. So
and he's not bad looking.
Crazy, it's crazy. He's super tall too. Did you know? Fun fact: I think it was about him. He didn't play football until he was like in high school or something like that.
That's crazy. That makes me love him even more.
He was just a natural at it.
Yeah.
Here's a fun one. Say something in an Australian accent.
Don't make me do. No, I can't do Aussie.
There you go.
Good day, mate.
No, there it is. All right. We'll pass on. Well, no, you did it. Okay, toilet paper, over or under?
What kind of questions are these? Oh my God.
That is an important question.
Over, of course.
Thank you. Some people at work, they still put it on the underside, and some people like just put it on the shelf.
No,
they don't even put it on the roll.
No. You gotta do over, and then sometimes when I'm feeling fancy, I like tuck in the sides and make it like a little triangle.
That is super fancy. That's awesome. So it's like a little hotel thing when you're coming to that side of the hotel. And
yeah,
what do you do with that triangle?
It's a little
on the first wipe. Like, what do you do? It's like just makes it easy to like start rolling off the toilet.
It's just nice to see.
All right. Oh, I got a great one here. So finish this song lyric. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around
and hurt you. Desert you?
Desert you,
oh,
yes.
God.
You want to keep going? No?
No. God, no.
Okay. That's a classic.
That was when I was like 5 years old, okay? I'm surprised I even know those lyrics.
It was, yeah. I think from your high school graduation. Yeah, do the math. Yeah, because I think I was maybe in 6th grade around their time. Yeah. Long time ago. All right. So, Aria Studios. How did you come up with a name for Aria Studios?
Okay, so this is a good story. So I started Aria Studios in 2008 in the middle of a recession, but it was actually a really good time to start because there's only one up to go. But Aria Studios came from my business partner's daughter. His name is Arya, and at that time she was 5 years old. And the reason why we named it after her is because she was the cutest little 5-year-old you've ever seen. I mean, she was just like 100% joy, 100% silliness, and like everything you would ever want in this world, like everything good in this world. She could do no wrong. And I was like, I just want that feeling all the time for our clients, for our customers. Arya. The crazy thing is, Arya just started working for Aria Studios.
Nice.
Yes, she's a sophomore at UH Manoa. She runs her social media. It's
That's
like full
cool.
circle.
Yeah.
I mean, and the crazy thing is she is still exactly the same.
Does she like get royalties?
She gets to say, I'm Arya from Aria Studios, the Arya.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
13 years later.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's just come full circle on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it would come full circle if like 10, 15 years from now she owns it.
Maybe one day.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. You got to retire sometime too. Right? But yeah, thank you so much again for coming on the show and answering my fun questions.
Sure.
One of the things that I've been told about you is that you're a great mentor.
Who paid you to say that?
A lot of people, actually. So that's why I run all this stuff and this equipment that you see here. No.
It is a huge passion of mine. Mm-hmm. And this was something that I discovered recently. I'd say during COVID, it was the first time I really mentored, like called it a mentorship. I mean, owning your own business and having employees, you're a leader / mentor, right? But only within the last year, I would call myself a mentor, and I'd actually mentor high school kids and even younger kids and people who are just starting off in the industry. And it just became just a passion of mine. I loved it so much. I loved being able to use the experience and the knowledge that I have from running a business, being in this filmmaking industry for 13 years plus, and helping out a kid who's just starting and kind of giving them a head start.
What is your favorite thing to mentor people on when you see someone that kind of needs help?
Okay, so during COVID, I mentored this high school senior. His name is Josh, and he went to HPA, which is the school that my kids go to in Waimea on the Big Island. And he really was interested in film, but he didn't have much experience, actually no experience. He's never been on set. He's never worked with like a crew. And so it was such an easy ask for him to just shadow. And so we would have productions on the Big Island. Hey, Josh, you want to come with us? Carry our tripods, take behind the scenes photos, things like that. But it was everything to him. And that really confirmed that this is what he wants to do. And it gave him the confidence that he was able to do this. And he had a relationship with myself and the people on the crew to just give him words of encouragement and extend our network of people that we knew. He applied to Chapman Film School and he got in.
What?
So he's there now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him.
Did you guys look at that as like an internship kind of thing? Or do you guys look at it as more just someone tagging along? Or is it a hire?
He wasn't a hire, so I just volunteered my time because I love HPA. The school's great. My kids go there. And I said, I'm available. If you have any kids who you think can learn from me or just want to shadow. And he really did. I have to give him the credit because he was the one who put himself out there, did all the work, called me, asked if he could just come along to things that I would think that I could just do this on my own. But Josh was like, let me come and carry your stuff. And he just got so much experience. I mean, to the point where he became a production assistant on some of our shoots and he was able to put that on his resume. And he's doing great.
That's such a fantastic story to hear because it harkens back to the individual putting himself out there, like you said, and like going for it and doing it and saying, I think too many people would just look at that opportunity and be like, oh, there's somebody better that can do it, or it's not for me, but he put himself out there.
Totally. And he had no experience. And he was honest about that. He was like, I've never been on set. I have this camera that I sometimes take pictures. I don't have a portfolio. And he was like, you're probably looking for somebody who has some experience. So I was like, no, as long as you're willing to learn and you have a great attitude, which he did have. I mean, I just brought him with me everywhere. Towards the end, I was just picking him up and he would come with me on everything. And he learned so much. He met so many people. He met several different directors and was able to talk with them. And he really took advantage of the opportunity that he had. And so, I mean, I encourage young people to do that too. I mean, you can just, if you put yourself out there and just take the first step, there's so many people who are willing to teach and to spend time with you. And it was just a great success story. And he's doing big things now.
And for you got a kid to carry your stuff for you for a while.
A cool kid. Yeah, he was a pretty cool kid.
That's awesome. And did you guys usually just do that on the Big Island?
We're trying to do that here. So that just kind of happened during COVID because pre-COVID, I was busy doing my thing and in the zone, and COVID happened, and it kind of forced me, and I think a lot of people to reevaluate how they did things and look for different opportunities. And so I just offered to mentor kids at HPA during that time, along with other schools on the Big Island, and I found him, or he found me, and it was just a great match.
It's like bright future for people that get into video production and stuff like that, especially now.
Yeah, everybody needs it. Every company, big or small, they're realizing the value of it and willing to spend a lot of money on it. If you can do it well, and it all comes back to storytelling. If you can find out a way to use imagery and story and create a compelling social media video or commercial, yeah, it's endless.
Goes a long, long way. I'm glad you mentioned social media, especially in this day and age, especially after going through the pandemic and the lockdowns and stuff like that, where just everybody has, one of these cell phones in their pocket, and you have all these social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. What are the other ones? LinkedIn.
I don't know.
LinkedIn's a good one.
Yeah.
I actually find a lot of guests from LinkedIn. because they're more business oriented, business minded, and entrepreneurial minded too. So it's like they connect really fast on LinkedIn, and boom, they actually want to come on the show. It's like really cool.
Awesome. I'm really bad at LinkedIn. I always like log on and I have 50 unread messages. Like,
it's weird though. Some of the messages are just, why am I getting this?
Yeah.
Like, this is not what I signed up for. But then some of them are just like, whoa, that's really cool.
They're very salesy, spammy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of a turnoff.
Yeah. But anyways, social media, we're talking about kind of your production studio too, right? And how you guys are getting more involved. Not just your own business getting into social media, but you're helping other businesses get into social media.
Yeah.
What's the future of that?
Ooh, I don't know the future of social media. We're just riding this wave while we're on it. But even people are like, Instagram. We need an Instagram video. Help us with the Instagram video. But it's so like, even in the world of, say, one of the platforms, Instagram, it's so diverse. So you have like on the feed where you can do up to a minute. You have story, you have reels now. And so, and really it's about like hitting all of them. I mean, it's so diverse. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, because it's really getting away from television and stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, we still get hit up for like television commercials, but I think at this point, what we're seeing is that's sort of like a side conversation. It's like we want to create a social media campaign. And with the footage that we get for this social media campaign, let's do a TV commercial. And we're talking about like companies who are putting a TV commercial on like during the Olympics. And so it's really just not like top of mind anymore. And that's just sort of like following the trend of where people are getting their information and people's attention spans, and everybody's just so it's so competitive. Like even the length of time before, a 1 minute commercial, 1 minute video seemed short, and now like 30 seconds seems long. 15 seconds is kind of where the sweet spot is right now, and that's crazy.
That's insane. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a podcaster. 15 seconds doesn't help me much.
But I'm sure you've experienced it. It's like if it doesn't catch your attention the first 2 seconds, you're just swiping. You're just like next, So, the social media, there's so many layers to it. And so it's really like figuring out your target audience. It goes back to all like the marketing 101s, finding out your target audience and your voice and what message you want to convey. And yeah, social media is just a platform, but it's really like, what kind of story do you want to tell?
Yeah, it's almost like deteriorating our attention spans to some extent. I'm on TikTok.
It is. Yeah.
It's like swipe. After 15 seconds, you're swiping and on to the next video.
Right. And that's why I love podcasts. It's because you can really like spend time like hearing from a person and hearing the conversation. And if it interests you, you're going to stay in that conversation and be able to dive deeper with that person. But so 15 seconds, you can't really, it's hard to tell a story in 15 seconds, which I probably shouldn't be saying because that's my line of work. But
but I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the 15 seconds versus the long form content, which is what I like to produce. And I think out of the long form content, you can cut it up and chop it up and make it all these little tidbit clips and stuff like that. But
yeah, you're just throwing a broad net and just hoping that you'll catch somebody within your target audience that thinks it's interesting in the 15 seconds. But
like which side the toilet paper goes over under 15 seconds of that.
Can we talk 15 seconds about toilet paper? I hope not.
I think we actually did like 30 seconds.
Oh God. Nobody's listening to this podcast at this point.
It's great stuff. So what is the future of Aria Studios? Where do you see that progressing and growing, or are you kind of at where it's at comfortably?
Okay. So Aria Studios has, for any company that's been around for 13 years, we've really evolved over the years. And so in the beginning, it was me and working, 12, 18 hours a day sometimes. And I just poured everything into my business. And that lasted for a few years. And then honestly, I met my husband and I had kids. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. There's no way I can maintain this sort of life anymore. I can't I need to have a life outside of my business. And so that was the turning point to having a team and going from out of the technician space, which I've learned in E-Myth, they call it like there's technician, there's manager, and there's entrepreneur. And in the beginning, I was all of them. And then I had to move to a space where I was just the entrepreneur and the manager, and I had to hand off work, which for any entrepreneur, that's hard because this is your baby and this is how you do things and nobody else can do it like you. But that's not sustainable. If you want to have any kind of life outside of your work, you're going to have to figure out how to teach someone else how to do what you do. And so the second phase of Aria Studios was that. And I had to grow a team. And then it went from me doing all the work to me learning how to manage a team, which was also new because I've never had a team before. I've always been a part of a team, but I've never had to lead a team. So that was, how do you create company culture, create systems and procedures. And that became like the second part of my company. But during that, I was able to grow my company. And then at this point of my company, it's really like, it's kind of a well-oiled machine. I've like been able to grow an amazing team that does over 100 weddings a year. We do at least 2 commercial productions a month. And so it's even during COVID, which not everybody can say, but we've been fine. Like we've been able to pivot and we've been able to do work. Even though weddings came to a complete halt, we were able to do commercial work and kind of pivot to micro weddings. So now it's really like asking myself those questions about what do I want to do? Now I'm not doing the thing that my business needs me to do. Now I can kind of have the freedom to do what I want to do. So what are the things that drive me? What am I passionate about? What are the stories I want to tell? And a lot of that comes to mentoring. I'm passionate about that. I love producing. So big production, commercial productions for both my companies and others that I work with. I love producing and directing. And telling stories that really, really matter, because that's really why we started in the beginning. We never started to be a wedding company. That just kind of happened. But I started my company to tell stories that really matter. And I want to get back to that. So that's sort of like where we are now.
No, I'm like a sponge for all this stuff because I kind of feel like I'm where you were when you first started, doing everything by yourself on your own, just because it was a passion and then it turned into employment and then you built a team. So I kind of want to ask you, what was the big struggle in going from yourself doing everything by yourself and the transition to creating a team and having a successful team?
Honestly, I had no other option but to do that because I could not continue to work the way I was working because I was pregnant. I had a baby coming. My husband was starting a new job. And so I really could not give my company the same amount of hours that I was. And I love to work. If I was making, I think I did the math one day and I was making less than minimum wage.
This is all the hours that you were putting in.
Because I was putting a crazy amount of hours in, but I loved my work and I was willing to do that. But now becoming a mom, every hour counted, everything counted, every minute mattered at that point. And I couldn't sustain the business. So it was really like change or my company is going to die. That was just how it was. And so I had no choice but to change the way I was doing things. And then I hired a business coach. She helped me figure out how to create systems, which when you're doing something on your own, you just do it because this is the way that you do it. It's the way you've always done it. But then when you have to teach it to somebody else, they need like a step by step, like this is how you do something, or else they're not going to be able to do it the way you expect them to do it. And that's all like in a system. People call it a system of procedures, SOPs. But I had to actually document every single thing down to like, how do you answer the phone? Mm-hmm. Like, how do you respond to an email? And the bigger things, like how do you shoot a wedding? How do you edit a wedding? How do you respond to a commercial client? What happens when you go and meet somebody and have a sales meeting. So all of those little things had to be documented, and I had to create systems. And that alone, I mean, almost put me into a crazy house because that was a huge task, but it was necessary to be able to grow and for somebody else to do the job that I was doing. It was a process for sure.
Yeah, it's a huge process.
Yeah.
You're creating more than a business. It seems like you're creating consistency and legacy to transition where you can, like you were just talking about earlier, leave and let it run on its own as it is and have somebody else manage it and everything because of all the foundation that you built.
Yeah. I mean, when my oldest daughter was 3, we actually moved to the Big Island. I left the island and I left my team, and then I was working remotely. Before working remotely was even a thing during COVID, I was calling it, like we were having Zoom meetings back in 2016. And so, but that would have never been able to happen if I didn't have trust in my team, and my team had trust in me that I was still there, that these are all the things that I'm committed to doing, even though I'm not here physically. And yeah, I mean, it sounds simple, but I mean, it really was like the whole,
Who here thinks that sounds simple? No.
It was transitioning from me doing everything to trusting a team to do the things that was like years. Like that process took years. And we still, like things are always changing. So even now, 13 years later, I still have to go back and like think about, is this the best way to do things? Is this the most efficient way to do things? And trends are changing. So even when we thought we perfected a wedding video, now it's like, that doesn't really work anymore. We need to go back and figure out a better way to do this, a more like modern way to do things. And so it's a process, but I have to say, I have a really, really good team that's been with me for years. I mean, my studio manager, nothing would happen without her. And she's been with me for years. All of my people have been with me for years.
What was the biggest trust issue you had when you're creating a team?
I think for me, I was big on the client experience. And so a lot of people in my industry get into being a filmmaker or owning a film or photography business because they love the creation of it. They are a photographer or a filmmaker. They are a creative. But I think I was a little bit different where I like that, and I think I was pretty good at that, but I loved the business part of it. And so like giving up the creative wasn't that big of a deal for me. I just found people who were able to do the job better than I was, and then went from there. And then I could focus on the business. That's
kind of insane how, and I think I'm getting this from you, is like Aria Studios is much better now than it ever was under just yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was doing the work, when I was shooting, when I was editing, oh God, I feel bad for the couples that I shot because their videos, the work that I did pales in comparison to the guys that I have now. Like I hired guys who are 10 times better at shooting and editing than I ever was. And I think that's a good thing to shoot for, is when you're hiring, you find somebody who is better at the job than you could ever be. So same thing as like my studio manager. She loves spreadsheets. She loves making sure all the numbers match up. And that is so outside of my comfort zone. I am like, numbers scare me. And so she prepares all the numbers and like puts them in a perfectly packaged with a document with a bow on top. And she's like, this is what you need to know. And I trust her. And she's way better than I could ever be.
That's kind of cool. So you're like the jack of all trades in that sense, but then you hired experts at it.
I don't even think I was doing a good job at any of these things when I first started. It's hard. I mean, running a business is hard. Anybody who's ever started a business knows, like, you need to be the guy who's shooting. You need to be the person who's editing. You need to be marketing, sales, admin, like everything. You're everything. Yeah. And it's impossible.
Like, I'm finding really hard for myself to keep up with social media posts and stuff like that. Like, it's time consuming to, number one, find guests, screen them, connect with them, invite them, converse with them to get them on the show. That's all time consuming. I love doing it, but it does take time. And then meeting up, setting up at the studio, actual recording, and then the editing that comes after that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just did an edit and it was an hour episode. It took me about 2 hours to edit it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And that was a fast one.
So what's your favorite part about this whole process?
Right now, talking with people.
Right now. And this is the thing that only you can do. It really is. And so then it's like finding all the low-hanging fruit and trying to cut away at that. And like, there are amazing social media people out there who love social media. So holding on to that almost deprives them of living their passion.
Mind blown. So because I'm not growing this and not taking that next step, I'm kind of hindering someone else to fill in those shoes.
And it's scary because it's an investment. I mean, you need to pay a fair wage for them to do a good job. And so it really is. And that was a big change for me from going from doing everything to hiring people, because I was making a pretty good amount of money doing everything on my own because I didn't have to pay anybody. All of a sudden I have to pay all these people and I'm taking home less, way less, and feeling like I was doing the same amount of work, not the same work, but I was training and I was managing, doing different work. And so for a while there, it was like, is this investment worth it? Should I just go back to doing it the way I did before and taking home everything? But then I would have never gotten to the place where I could hand off confidently and be able to grow. There's only so much you can do. So if you're doing everything, it's impossible to grow. You're just going to keep feeling like you're behind.
I guess the big question I personally have, and I think entrepreneurs would have, is when do you know it's that point to go ahead and step off and expand and hire people to help you?
I can't say it's the same for everybody. I mean, I'm a business coach too. And so I talk to a bunch of different creatives who are on the spectrum of overwhelm. And so I think only you will know when you need to hand things off. And sometimes it's going to take hitting rock bottom and like going through some crazy thing, either in your like professional life or your personal life, God forbid. But even like, honestly, with me, when I was having a baby and like the home life wasn't good. It was very, very stressful because I was trying to maintain this work life and also add on all this other stuff. It was impossible. So of course you're stressed, you're not your best self, you're taking it out on other people. And so it got really bad to the point where I hit rock bottom, my first of many rock bottoms. But that was the point where I was like, something needs to change. And I think everybody's story will have like a different kind of rock bottom. Hopefully it doesn't get to rock bottom and you can catch it before then. But everybody has a different like tolerance to it. What I try to model as a leader and a coach is having like a healthy work-life balance.
But is there such thing as work-life balance? You were just saying maybe not really sometimes.
There is for the individual. I don't think there's like a one-size-fits-all.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
I would even go so far as to perhaps say that you can't look at work-life balance as a daily thing or maybe even a weekly thing, but probably a monthly thing. You know,
yeah, just a constant check-in. And I've like really, some people do meditation to like check in on themselves. Like some people like have other means of just really like taking the time to reflect back on like, how am I feeling? Like, do I need to work out more? Like, do I need to make my health a priority right now or my kids a priority right now? It's like, it's just like this constant moving scale like that you can't quite nail. Like once you think you figured it out, it's going to change.
Yeah, because kids get older and they need different things, and
yeah,
they go through different things in their life too. And yeah, just the work-life balance is just, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. The work-life balance is really hard, and I had to learn because I think we live in this hustle culture where it's like people post on Instagram like I'm working and like this is me like killing it and like doing stuff, and if I'm not working, I'm like being the best mom ever, and I'm cooking homemade meals, and I'm over here at soccer practice, I'm the soccer, like, you know, it's just like there's this culture that we live in that makes us feel less than, and like no matter who you are or what you're doing, you feel like I'm not doing enough or I'm not as good as that person. And when you're an entrepreneur, I think entrepreneurs are super hard on themselves, and their minds are wired in this way where they need to keep hustling. Like that's how they got into this. That's why they like made the leap to like leave their full-time 9-to-5 job and like start their own company. And then they had to hustle, and they're wired in a different way, I think, where it's like you can't relax without guilt. I couldn't. When I was like binging on Netflix, I would feel bad the whole entire time. And then the next day I'm tired and I feel shitty about myself, and I just like never gave myself a break. I was like, okay, now I'm going to have to work twice as much to get caught up with the things I didn't do yesterday. And then I need to do a 45-minute workout, and then I need to go to the store so I can make this meal for my kids. And like, it just never ends. And eventually, like, the sad part about that is that we just see people burn out and get depressed and give up on their job or their passion. And I see that happen over and over again. And I think it's okay to just chill. If you feel like you need to chill and have like a chill day and like read a book or go to lunch with a friend, it's
Definitely
okay.
Unplug.
Yeah. And not feel bad about it. Because I can say that and still I will find myself feeling bad about I have all these emails waiting for me. I got to get back to this guy, and I got to do this and do that. And I feel bad, but then it takes effort to be like, no, you're okay. You can get back to them later. Like, you need to take care of yourself first. If you're not taking care of yourself, you cannot take care of your team. You cannot take care of your family. And so making your health and your mental health a priority is probably the most important thing that you can do.
Sounds to me like you're really nailing on a theory of discipline, both ways. Discipline to work hard and get things done, but also discipline to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your health when it needs to. And you feel like you have to work, you're not taking care of, you're missing deadlines, or it feels that way anyways, and you feel like you're not working, but your body needs that, your brain needs that, your eyeballs need that rest and relaxation sometimes. You just need to unplug. But you have to have the discipline to actually separate those two and say, hey, this is the time to rest and relax. I'm in it for the long game. I'm not in it to be successful tomorrow or next week. I'm in this so that I stay alive for the next 50, 60 years, and I'm a success in all that time. And working every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's going to kill you.
Yeah, it really comes down to that. I mean, I talk to younger entrepreneurs who are like, I am super overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I have like all this backlog. I have all these emails, and they feel like they're feeling, and they feel overwhelmed and overworked. And then it really does come back to asking the questions around discipline. Like, tell me about how you structure your day. Do you give yourself like a routine? And tell me about how you respond to your clients and the time frame that you respond to them. And it's really like putting those, and I think especially with the younger entrepreneurs, I think I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who like never really clocked in and clocked out and never had to be at a certain place at a certain time. Like, they've kind of always created their own schedule, which is amazing. But then they never like had that discipline where it's like, if you are late, you actually get reprimanded, and
right.
You actually there's a consequence to not doing the thing that you're getting paid to do. And it's like the same as, and especially in an industry where it's like your passion or creative, and I'm gonna do it if I feel like it. There's a lot of that. But owning your own business and being a creative, it's kind of right brain, left brain, and like the most successful ones are able to integrate both.
That's so interesting. We took this test when I was going through this basic instructor's course on just like giving a class, presentation, stuff like that. They actually teach you how to do it. But one of the things they gave us was a test to see if we're right-brained or left-brained based on the answers you had. And every time I would take the different questions and stuff, I would be 50-50, right, left.
Oh, really?
And I was the only one in the class. Most of the people were right. There was like 2 people who were left. And I was just like smack dab in the middle, 50-50 every time. I was like, what? Are you sure?
That's great. I mean, definitely an entrepreneurial brain. because you need to be able to do both.
I try. But I find, all the things that you were talking about and mentioning, like I find that in my day-to-day life too, where I'm lazy as heck sometimes. And I don't know if it's I need to have that lazy time or if I need to be working. Because there are some nights where I'm working and doing something towards this business or that business up until like midnight. And I get up like 6 to get ready for work and go into work. So I'm not getting a full 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure when you go to work at the police department, you're working a certain amount of time for a certain amount of hours. And that's clock in, clock out.
Yeah.
Like, you know that you worked 8 hours. But for an entrepreneur who has a creative like myself, like a filmmaker, a photographer, or a graphic designer, or like so many jobs, you think sometimes that you're working. And some of my crew, I had to really nail this down with them, because you're at your desk, you're at your computer and you're working, quote unquote, but then you're also like, oh, let me just check Instagram real quick. Oh, and then so that scroll is maybe 10 minutes, go back to working. And you need to get caught up on where you were, answer another email, and then, this show came on. Let me just watch it for a little bit. And so you might feel like you're working for 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours. But if you really were honest with yourself, most of the time, I would bet you're not even working half that time. So that comes back to discipline again, like you were saying.
What is your life philosophy?
Ooh, that's deep. I think I'm still on the journey of figuring that out. I don't know if anybody's ever has figured out the meaning of life, but I've learned over the years things that have really sparked joy in my life. Was a big move for us was moving to the Big Island, and we moved there because we love the community. I always wanted to live in Waimea. I grew up growing up in the Big Island. I thought it was just this magical place that I couldn't believe people actually live there. I mean, you're living in the middle of a pasture with horses and cows, and the weather's amazing, and people are nice, and the houses are beautiful. And I never thought that would be a reality, but we were able to make it work. So moving back to the Big Island was definitely a dream come true, to be able to live there and near my parents. But also moving back to the Big Island changed my mindset a lot, because on Oahu, I think I was more in the hustle culture and getting things done and moving really fast and not really thinking about the long term and just focusing on the now. But moving back to the Big Island, I really had some time to just think about, just have some time to be myself and make friends and give back to the community, and really ask myself those questions about what do I want my life to look like? What do I want my legacy to be? What kind of mom do I want to be? And I also made connections with my culture. My grandfather was full Hawaiian from the Big Island, and I kind of lost that a little bit. I mean, I danced hula all throughout my childhood, but Hawaiian culture wasn't really a big part of my life, my adult life, until moving back to the Big Island, and then meeting some people there and really reconnecting with that. And so that's kind of a spiritual thing that happened while I was there, connecting back to the land. And so now I think I live a more balanced life for sure, taking care of myself and my health and making that a priority. And the great thing is that I lead by example, and I make sure that that is a priority for my company too. That's part of our company culture. It's I encourage our team to work when they want to, unless we have an event that they need to be at a certain place, certain time. They work when they want to. They make their priority, their family and their health a priority too. And so I was able to create a life, or at least encourage a life for them that I believed in, and help them still have the comfort of a job that they love, but also the freedom to do it their way.
That's so forward thinking and amazing. I really, really like and appreciate that there are bosses like yourself that do that for their employees. Do you find that it increases their productivity?
I was just going to say, they feel connected to the cause, they feel connected to the team. So they are honest and trustworthy, and they have great work ethic because, and I tell them, I don't really care that you're not working 40 hours a week. Sometimes on a busy week, you might work more than that, but on the week to week, I don't care about you like logging hours. Like I would rather you do a really good job at this and then spend the rest of the afternoon with your family. Like it really doesn't matter to me. And I don't want to be the one kind of like telling anybody's hours. Like I don't want to live that way. And they are loyal. They feel invested in the company and the cause. And so they go out of their way to find people who would be a great part of the team, making them feel like part of the team, training them. And so through that, I've had pretty good retention and just great people.
I can only hope that, I mean, this pattern of having your employees kind of just be project-based and not hourly-based has, shown so much success, especially in recent years, where it's just like, hey, get this done. I don't care if you're here for 40 hours. That's not what because you can be here for 40 hours and not do anything.
Right.
But show me that you've got this work done. You don't need to be here for 40 hours.
Right. And also making them feel appreciated and connected to the team and the cause. Like we do a lot of work. We also have a nonprofit that helps out. Our main sort of thing that we focus on is child trafficking, and that's how our company started to begin with. I went to Thailand and experienced being in an orphanage where their goal was to get kids out of child trafficking in Thailand, and that was before Aria Studios even started. To be honest, back then in 2007, I didn't even realize that child trafficking was a thing. I didn't know that was happening in this current day, but I learned about it and experienced it, and I saw how lives could be transformed after getting out of it.
What do you mean you experienced it?
Well, I didn't
Nobody grabbed you off the street.
Well, we went into the slums. We went into the villages where people would convince parents that their kids were in better hands with these traffickers by promising education and food and all that. And so we talked to people in these villages who were, truly victims of this. And that became my goal, was to do something about this. And we started a company that would give back. Everybody on my team has flown and donated work, and we've made connections here at home too. And so that's just a part that's like deep inside of me. I feel like this is my mission. I feel like I have responsibility to a lot of things, but like deep down, like this is my mission. Once I found out about this, I couldn't turn my back on it. I created another company that like supported this cause as well. And so all that to say, this is part of the fabric of my company, of Aria Studios, and the DNA. And people who come in, whether they're an employee or a subcontractor, they know about this. They know that this is what matters to me. And so we end up attracting people who are on board, who are willing to donate work, donate their time, and really like work with us to help this cause, while also doing great, amazing work too.
Yeah, no, that's just fantastic. I didn't know that it was that your job. I didn't know that your company was in that direction. I knew that you had the nonprofit, and that you guys work out of the Philippines a little bit too, right?
We do. We have a clean water initiative in the Philippines, and it's to help the kids there who don't have clean water.
But just the whole child trafficking thing, I think you're right, man. It's just, that is one of your life goals right there. You're just gonna try and try and try, and that's gonna attract like-minded people. And I'm sorry, but like-minded people, there's probably a lot of those people that believe that child trafficking is evil and shouldn't exist. Right.
But in the company that we have, we are a filmmaking and photography company. And so people who have those gifts or those passions, they can also support this cause while also getting a salary. So it's sort of a win-win. And
they don't have to necessarily get, their boots in the mud or anything.
Right.
They can actually just help produce and help do the best work that they can possibly do to help that.
Yeah.
That's
so
the next
chapter of my life, I I can just imagine it will be like heavily into that, because it's been something that's been like tugging at my heart, and it's been kind of on the shelf because I had to grow this company. I'm a mom. I can't just go back to Thailand, the red light district, probably one of the most dangerous places in the world, while I have 2 little girls at home that are waiting for me to come home. So a lot of those things had to like be put on the shelf, but we have another company that's coming out soon that I'm excited to talk about when that time comes. But it's all for the cause, to get kids safe, and especially being a mom. Oh my gosh, I learned about this when I wasn't even a mom. Then becoming a mom and just seeing these girls and like how precious they are, girls and boys. I mean, traffickers, they don't discriminate. Boys or girls, babies, not even born. I mean, it's really horrible and crazy that it happens. It's still happening in 2021. But that's a passion of mine.
Yeah. And in order to really effectively help, we have to make money.
Exactly.
Like money, it's the root of all evil, but it's the key to, the success of something like that.
Right.
If you don't have the money to input into that, well, where does the money come from? So
yeah, great. Bills still need to be paid. Team still needs to be paid. So we needed to create a successful company first.
And you're doing that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Colby, it's been so awesome getting to know you and talking with you here. Thank you so much for coming on Hawaii Real.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Did you have a good time?
I did.
Okay.
I'm impressed with your interviewing skills.
Ooh.
We were talking about that earlier. I'm going to have to get some tips from you.
Okay. Can do. All right, everybody. Colby, Aria Studios.
Thanks.
Check them out, ariastudios.com. And as always, stay happy, Hawaii. God, throw your shakas. Is that Big Island shakas? The open fingers?
It's just like the not fully. It's just like the finger flip.